Operation Paperclip smuggled hundreds of Nazi scientists, including top SS officers on trial for war crimes, into the United States for use in America's Cold War space race. One of these Nazi Party members, Wernher von Braun, was promoted to head up NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Under Operation Paperclip, some 350 German scientists and former intelligence agents were given visas and well-paying jobs. Many of these scientists had questionable pasts. Braun himself had been an active member of the Nazi Party, and his colleague at NASA, Dr. Hubertus Struggold, a specialist in aviation medicine, had performed experiments on concentration camp inmates. The purpose of this massive and illegal undertaking appears to have been for the establishment of a worldwide authority on all things relating to space and astronomy. NASA became the public face of space. It has long acted as a front, providing an unsuspecting world with pseudoscience legitimized by the backing of the U.S. government. NASA is its own monopoly. It controls the dissemination of public information on astronomy while hiding facts it does not want the public to know. While many countries and universities have observatories, always it is the statements, photographs, and discoveries of NASA that make the news headlines.
So let's take a look at this Wernher von Braun, the Nazi rocket scientist who was performing many experiments on the Jews and the Holocaust victims and in the concentration camps. And a lot of the experiments were, killed many during these experiments of the Nazis. And so this von Braun was involved in this stuff. According to my research, he was involved in a lot of the torture of the victims. And so he ended up working for NASA as a rocket scientist. And my take on rockets is it was NASA's way to fake the picture of the moon, because without any type of, when Admiral Byrd discovered the firmament, pretty much right around the same time that Nazi was formed, pretty much around the same time that NASA was formed, was around the time that Admiral Byrd discovered the firmament of Antarctica. And so at the same time, the Antarctic Treaty was put up in order to block the edges. In the same year, or around the same time, within a year or so, NASA was formed, headed by von Braun, Wernher von Braun, the rocket scientist, so that they could beat everybody to space, because the government was desperate. And not just America. When I say government, I'm talking about the Illuminati government, which includes many nations, almost all of them, pretty much. So it's just it's the overseeing government of all. It's more like a UN that functions, as a hidden entity. So this Illuminati government was panicked when Admiral Byrd discovered the firmament. So when they hired this Nazi guy, and von Braun was only one of many Nazis that were hired. There were hundreds of them, I think they said close to 1,000, were recruited to work with NASA. Some say anywhere from 350 to 1,000. So somewhere in between there. But many of them were Nazis, and von Braun was one of them, and he was the rocket guy, because how can you get a picture of space without a rocket? So you have to have a plausible illusion that you are indeed going into space, so that the masses, so the public will believe that we went to space. So that's why no other countries have gone back to the moon, because it was only done to give you that fake picture of the Earth and to have an explanation for giving you that picture. I guess they didn't think of satellites at the time, so they went ahead with the moon thing, and they gave you a picture on the last trip back, or on the last trip, Apollo 17. They finally gave you a full sunlit picture of the Earth. And it was this globe picture, and that was the only picture you got for 43 years. And without the rocket that von Braun invented, there would have been no picture. There would be no valid reason for there to be a picture of the Earth, because no one had went that far up. So the rocket was a big part of this conspiracy to hide the flat Earth from the public. So they got the rocket guy, von Braun, and created some decent rockets that could get high enough to create the illusion that they went into outer space. If you do research on a flat Earth, we're saying that these rockets aren't going into space. I believe the rockets are basically used as scrap metal. So NASA, they used to dump the rockets right into the oceans. That's probably what they still do. Or they can use Antarctica and basically melt the evidence and build new rockets. Recycling metals. And let's take a look at his grave, von Braun. What does this say here? So he was born in 1912 and he died in 1977. And he left a Bible passage on his tombstone. And that passage is Psalms 19:1. Well, let's have a look at what that says. And if you look at a Bible with a good translation method, it'll say, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork." So, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. The firmament is the key word. This is what he left. This is what von Braun, the rocket man, left on his tombstone. It's like a message from the grave, I suppose, because the word firmament comes up. So now some translations try to erase the word firmament and use a more modern word like sky. But in the original Hebrew, in the original translations from the Hebrews, the word should be firmament. And firmament is this unbreakable dome. The dome of the flat Earth. Well, that's a pretty strange Bible passage for von Braun to leave on his tombstone, discussing how the firmament shows God's handiwork. So the guy who invented rockets to take us into outer space leaves a Bible passage that speaks of the firmament, which, it's a clue. It's a clue. So, so let's just finish off by reading this passage right here, how it says, from 1945 to 1955, Operation paperclip granted nearly 1,000 German scientists American citizenships. Many had been longtime members of the Nazi Party. And so there you go. Well, you can read the rest for yourself, but yeah, it's right there. So NASA was created with the help of Nazis, and the reason for NASA to exist is to hide the flat earth. Therefore, I am including this as a flat earth proof. So thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe and share. And catch you next time. Signing off.